Hello students, in our previous video we have started with various documents required for the incorporation of the company. And first we have started with Memorandum of Association. In Memorandum of Association we have studied about name clause, registered office clause, object clause, liability clause and capital clause. In today's video we will start with articles of association. Here the articles of association is nothing but it is a subset of memorandum of association. Articles of association is dealing with internal rules and regulations of the management of the company. So always articles of association should follow the memorandum of association. It should not be contradictory to that. Now we will go to next slide. Now we will see what our company Act says about Articles of Association. According to Section 2, subsection 5 of the Companies Act 2013, articles means the articles of association of a company as originally framed or as altered from time to time or applied in pursuance of any previous company law of this Act. The articles of a company shall be respective form as specified in Table F, G, H, I and J in a schedule as may be applicable to such a company. It means even Company Act has given certain rules and regulations related to internal management of the company in a table F, G, H, I and J. Even company can also form its own set of rules and regulations as applicable. If company wants, it can adopt tables or it can frame its own articles of association. Now we will see what are the contents of the articles of association. So, contents of articles of association. The first one is exclusion wholly or partly of table F. So, already Company Act has given certain set of rules and regulations in a table F. If a company want, it can adopt some of the table F contents or wholly it will create its own rules and regulations. The second one is adoption of preliminary contracts. Here the preliminary contracts means the contracts which have signed before the incorporation of the company. So in articles of association it will be mentioned whether those contracts will be executed or no. The third one is number of values of shares. So number of and values of shares means the company can decide how many number of shares we have to issue or what will be the value of shares. So if authorized capital is 1 lakh rupees, in that case we can divide the shares of rupees 10 each also, and even we can divide it 100 rupees shares. So as maybe it depends upon the company. Then issue of preference shares. So company will decide whether we have to issue the preference shares or no. Then allotment of shares. The company will decide how to allot the shares. Then calls on shares. So you excuse me. So usually what happens, whenever company want to raise the fund from the shareholders, at a time it will won't raise fully. So it will divide them into different stages, that is application, allotment, first call, second call, third and final call. So it will be decided in articles of association. Then lien on shares. Then transfer and transmission of shares. Here the transfer of shares means if a person want to transfer his shares to another person, he can transfer. Then transmission of shares means if that person who is holding the shares, if he dies, then those shares will be transferred to his legal heirs. Then nomination. So about the nomination also in articles of association it has given. Then forfeiture of shares. Here the forfeiture of shares means if any shareholder fails to pay the call money, that time his shareholdership will be cancelled and the whatever money he has paid, that will be forfeited and that will sent to the share capital reserve account. And the 11th one is alteration of capital. So here Once the authorized capital is fixed, we cannot alter. In articles of association, certain rules and regulations are there for the alteration of capital. Then buyback. Sometime the company may sell the shares to public if it wants control in its hand. At time from the open market it will buy the shares back. Then share certificate, how the share certificates will be issued, in a material form or a dematerialized form. Dematerialized form means electronic form. Next one is conversion of shares into stocks. Incorporation of a companies and matter incidental thereto. Here the conversion of shares into stocks means the company what it will do, it will make the bundle of shares. For example, one share will be of rupees 10. If any person is holding number of 100 shares, right, so number becomes 100. So what company will do, it will make 100 shares as a one stock. So number, it is a group of shares, right? So one bundle it will make, and that is called as a stock. Then voting rights and proxy. So here how the company has given voting right to the shareholders. Proxy means if any urgency, if the shareholders does not attend the meeting, that time his proxy can vote for the election of the company, or by at the time of taking any important decision. Then meetings and rules regarding committees. So how the meetings will be conducted, what is the time gap between 2 or 3 meetings, that will be decided in articles of association. Next one is directors, their appointment and delegation of powers. So in articles of association, how to appoint the directors, what are their rules and regulations, what are their powers, responsibilities will be given. Then nominee directors means who have nominated as the directors. 20th is issue of debentures and stocks. And then is audit committee, then how to appoint the audit company, who are the auditors, etc. Then managing director, whole time director, manager and secretary, how to appoint them, what are the rules and regulations for them, and what are the responsibilities for them. 23rd is additional director. If the directors are not sufficient, in that case company may go for additional directors. Then 24th is seal, how the seal of the company should be there, that will be decided in articles of association. Then remuneration of directors, what is the remuneration of directors, whether we have to pay them a lump sum, whether we have to give them a commission, or how we are going to pay the remuneration to the directors. Next one is general meeting. So every year the company has to conduct at least one general meeting. So when it will be conducted, how it will be conducted, so that will be written in the articles of association. Then directors meeting, when the directors are supposed to conduct the meetings. Borrowing powers, how much power is there in the hands of the directors, if any emergency they can borrow money from the other financial institution. Then dividends and reserves, how to distribute the dividend to the shareholders and how much money we have to keep as a reserve. 30th is accounts and audits, how to maintain the accounts, which type of methods we have to adopt for accounts and how it will be audited. 31 is winding up. Then 32 is indemnity, how to compensate. Winding up means closing of the company. Indemnity means how to compensate if any problems. Then last one is capitalization of reserves. So whatever reserves have given, that will be converted into capital. So all these details will be contents of the articles of association. Okay, in next video we will see the difference between memorandum of association and articles of association. Thank you.